What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're of course going to get back in the XFL. Let's talk some XFL. If it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing, and especially right now. If you subscribe right now, that's just one half of getting yourself signed up and part of the contest that we have going on. What's the contest? Well, the contest is that I'm just trying to say thank you for getting over 1,000 subscribers. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a giveaway. And up until March 1st, if you subscribe to the channel and leave a comment on my thank you video, which I'll leave a link down in the description of this video, if you do those two things, you're going to get entered into the contest. Now, what are you going to win in the contest? In the contest, you're going to win your choice of either a t-shirt or a hat from XFL.com shop store. And so I'll let the winner pick that. And, so after March 1st, I'll go ahead and I'll pick a winner. I'll contact you, get all the information in that, and, we'll announce the winner after March 1st in that. Now, there's one stipulation with that. That is, for every extra 500 subscribers we get, I will add another winner to the giveaway. So if we get over 2,000 subscribers before March 1st, I'll do 3 giveaways. If we get 1,500, I'll do 2. Really, it's just up to you guys, you viewers out there, how many giveaways we actually do. So yeah, keep that kind of in your thoughts and your minds. And remember, leave me those comments down in the comment section. I love to interact with you guys, and I love to feature them. And speaking of featuring them, we're going to go ahead and fair and dry. You're just an awesome human being, and that's just what I'm going to say. Why? Well, let's read it right here. Farron says, here's to the next 500. I'd love a Vipers cap, but at the risk of being too cutesy, if I was to win, why not give it, or the cost, to a local charity near you? At least that will save you the hassle of shipping it halfway around the world to me. Farron, you are an awesome person. And I just like the fact that you're thinking about others, in this whole situation and that. And that's what's cool. We have a community of pretty awesome people who are pretty selfless in that with it. So yeah, I really appreciated reading that comment, and just having people like you around is really neat. And yeah, it's just kind of neat to have in this community, this online community, especially with trolls and people that just decide to just brag on people. It's nice to know that there's still kind-hearted people like you out there. So I really appreciated that comment. Thank you for that. Now, let's go ahead and let's move on. Let's talk about some XFL today. I don't have really a whole lot for you. First and foremost, let's go ahead and let's look at some attendance numbers, okay? Now, there really hasn't been a whole lot of new information that's been coming out that we haven't covered. But one thing we really haven't talked about are the attendance that we're expecting this weekend. And listen, we've got 2 new stadiums that we're going to be debuting in this week. That's right, the Vipers are going to be doing their home debut, and the St. Louis BattleHawks are also going to be debuting at home. Now, we really don't have a whole lot of numbers coming out with the Vipers, and with the Vipers not playing good, and with Aaron Murray still questionable for the game, things are kind of up in the air there. I don't know how many people they're going to have. Now, Raymond James Stadium, it's a neat, cool stadium. They've got a big pirate ship up in one, at one end zone with it. And it's a nice stadium. It's a newer renovated stadium. It's nice. It's sleek. It holds about 65,000 people, to where, even if they get about 15,000 people in that place, it might seem a bit small. We don't really know what numbers that they're really planning there. However, let's turn our attention now to St. Louis. St. Louis is expecting over 28,000 people in the Dome. The Dome at America Center there in St. Louis. And listen, St. Louis has just been all about the XFL. Since day one, St. Louis has adopted, they've taken on the XFL, and they've been behind the XFL 100%. It's been really neat to see, and they've got a really cool team. and their quarterback, they got a really great quarterback. They're just a fun, neat team, not only to watch, but just to follow in the fan base in that they have. They're just exciting. And to see that they're going to have over 28,000 people in that stadium. Now, here's the cool thing. So if this is what they've been doing, is just opening up the lower bowls of the stadium. If they just open up the lower bowl, they're going to be sold out for this game. So right now, they're considering this a sellout because they haven't opened up the upper bowl. So they've literally sold out this stadium for what they're doing, which is huge. Now let's go to the second point, which is even crazier than that, is the fact that tickets now are selling for $95. So those $20 tickets that you could get, if you wanted to go in there and get some of those, to get tickets now, you're looking at $95 a pop. Let's go ahead and let's backtrack a few years. And now granted, I know that the upper deck was available during then, but you're still looking at, for the same seats, $65 for Rams tickets before they left St. Louis there. So if you think that's $30 more than Rams tickets. I thought that was pretty cool. Granted, I get it. We're not comparing apples and oranges, and I just talked a whole dang video about not comparing the NFL and the XFL. But it is nice to see that the XFL is doing well and that St. Louis is embracing them. And so it's really neat. It's really cool. I really think it's neat for the city and for the BattleHawks and all the way around. And so I hope that they just pack that place, and I hope that they can get up over 30,000 people and it be a nice story. And too, I would love to see, the TV ratings skyrocket through the roof on that video. I mean, on that game. So looking forward to just kind of seeing that on TV and seeing just how ruckus the fans are there at home, their home opener and that. And hopefully this weekend we can see maybe attendance rise again, because we have two teams, the final two teams that haven't had a home game yet, have their home game here in week 3. So yeah, I'm excited to see that and do that. Now, let's go ahead and let's move on to our power rankings. And the reason why I'm moving on to power rankings and I'm not doing my previews yet is there are just too many things right now that are out there that are in the open that we really don't know about, and maybe we might not find out about before game time. But some of the quarterbacks and that, who's going to be starting, who's going to be playing, what's going on, some of that stuff we don't know yet. There's a lot of guys, Houston, Phillips, I don't know if he's going to go, if he's going to play this week or not. And last week, they didn't come out until Friday and tell you who is going to play and who's not. And so I would, there are guys like Aaron Murray and things like that I really want to see, if these guys are playing or not before I go through and, we go through all of that and make those videos and all that. So I apologize. I know that some of you guys want me to get this stuff out earlier than what I have been doing. But I definitely will get the videos out so that you can have them before game time starts. I apologize. I'd like to have a little bit more information before I go ahead and go through and make my picks and put all the information out there. There's just way too many guys that are up in the air that I just don't know, if they're going to be playing or not, because the XFL hasn't put that information out. And last week they put it out on Friday morning, so hopefully I'll try to get on top of those videos and get those out, hopefully Friday evening for some of you guys. And I apologize again on that. But that's just kind of where we're sitting. So let's go ahead and let's turn our attention to my power rankings for week 3 and where I feel everybody's sitting and kind of give you my thoughts on them. Let's start first by recapping week 2. Now, week 2, I had LA in 8. I had number 7, I had Tampa Bay. Number 6, I had Seattle Dragons. Number 5, I had Dallas. Number 4, New York. Number 3, St. Louis. Number 2, Houston. And number 1, the DC Defenders. Now, let's go and let's move to week 3. And let's start down at the bottom. And we've got our bottom sellers, our bottom feeders. And the bottomest of the most bottom would definitely be the Vipers, right? Because they're going to be the closest ones to the ground. And unfortunately for the Vipers, this is the weirdest team I think I've ever seen. I have not seen a team move the ball as well as they have as bad of a luck as they've had, to be up and down as they have, to it's mind-boggling how many facets of the game that they've won, and they still haven't won a game and still haven't scored an offensive touchdown. I mean, let alone winning a game. They haven't even scored an offensive touchdown. The only one and only touchdown that they've scored has been on defense. The defense it just boggles my mind with this team. The fact of the matter is, and the reality of it is, with this Tampa Bay team, is a very talented team and a very, very good team. And they've got a really good defense, which I think people are going to be surprised with this weekend when they go up against Houston, how well they do. But the fact of the matter still is they need a quarterback. They need to figure out the quarterback situation. Now, it could be Aaron Murray. The quarterback could be Aaron Murray, and if they can get him healthy and they can get him slinging the ball back around the field and doing well, all power to them. I think that they will become a contender in the league, possibly to make the playoffs. However, if he can't get healthy or they can't figure out the quarterback situation in the next 2 weeks, their season's done. They're over with. They really this week needs to start some fire underneath them, because if not, it's going to be too little too late if they figure anything out with the quarterback situation. But Tampa Bay, they really have all the pieces there, especially with bringing in S.J. Green. They really have all of the pieces there to really put together a nice team. They just need to figure out what they're going to do in quarterback and have some decent quarterback play. If they can get some decent quarterback play happening there in Tampa Bay, they're going to be affordable team with that. So let's go ahead and let's move to number 7, and it's LA Wildcats. And the only reason why the LA Wildcats are higher than Tampa Bay is because they have a quarterback. Josh Johnson came in and he played a decent game. He played a really, really good game. And, you know, by all intents and purposes, had they not have had Hood become a fumble machine, and why in the world he ends up in the game? Like this is the thing that boggles my mind. Like, I don't get Moss. I really don't. He makes no sense to me. So you've got a defensive coordinator, and granted, you get blown out by the probably by the best team in the league right now, arguably one of the best teams in the league, best offenses in the league, and you fire your defensive coordinator and you release arguably your best player on defense. Okay, that's fine. You do that. And then so we turn around and a week later, your defense is playing fairly decent, but you're still doing kind of the same thing that you were doing. But on offense, it's like you're not fixing anything. It's just like, it's weird to me. You let Hood go down there and he fumbles twice in the red zone, literally within the 10-yard line, and you lose the ball twice. And why in the world are you not releasing him, letting him go, getting mad, getting fired up? Like, I have absolutely no clue. And maybe you're totally giving the offense over to Norm Chow. And I can tell you, Moss probably does not have the power to get rid of Chow. I think they brought in Norm Chow because he's an LA guy. He's got the LA ties, and they're going to have him in there. And Moss probably can't touch him, and maybe that's why he's not doing anything. But this is weird to me. For him to do what he did with Oakman, for him to do what he did with Johnson and Pepper Johnson and Anthony Johnson, it just boggles my mind. And then to turn around and not do anything at all with Hood after he's not played good at all for them. I mean, Rose has been their best running back, and he's really not a pounder like they want. They want a guy that's going to just pound and pound and pound. And Hood could be that guy, but he's just made way too many mistakes, and he's not running kind of like they need him to run to really step up and be that. Josh Johnson played really well last week. Nelson Spruce, the dude is a stud. He knows what he's doing there at wide receiver. And the defense actually is a fairly decent defense. Now, they got gashed at the end of that game. But what do you kind of expect after your offense kind of turns over the ball, and that with it, you kind of get deflated, and that with it, it's like it's all for naught. So I've got them at number 7. Number 6 is the New York Guardians, and I thought they were, like, for me, one of the teams that were kind of up there, and they've just really fallen off. And a lot of it has to do with Matt McGloin and that offensive line. I think if they can get that offensive line healthy and they can get Matt McGloin back on track. And again, he's one of those guys to where after the comments he made, I don't know how you can put him back at starter. Now, granted, they're not as bad as what everybody came out and said that they are, but they are pretty damning. And, they are kind of those things that really break the confidence that your team has in you as a leader, and your quarterback is a leader, regardless of what people say. Your quarterback is a leader on the team. And so for what he did, that really hurts his leadership on this team. Now, whether or not Williams or Perez are able to step up and take those reins, I have no clue. But right now, I am not feeling the Guardians at all, unless Matt McGloin takes and does a complete 180 this week, which he could quite possibly do. I don't really see it. But I see the Guardians staying there or falling behind Tampa Bay or the Wildcats, especially if those two can figure these things out. Because right now, the Guardians are spiraling downward, and they need something to jumpstart this thing fast. Now, number 5, we got the Seattle Dragons, and the Seattle Dragons have an opportunity this week to really move themselves up. If they can get a lot of it, and granted, it goes back to quarterback play. But not just so much that. They got a really nice win against a good Vipers team that has kind of a flailing quarterback. It was a messy game. They won a good messy game. They need to get Brandon Silvers kind of back on track like he was in the first half of the first game, and that we'll see what happens. Me personally, I would like to see some BJ Daniels. I'd like to see him get an opportunity in there to sling the ball around and see what he can do. Because from all of the reports that we heard coming out of training camp, he was playing pretty well, and he was doing pretty well. And that there was a fight between him and Brandon Silvers going on there, and that Brandon Silvers barely beat him out. So I don't know there. I think that, they've kind of, they're on the upward trend, which is what I like. And if they can kind of fix some mistakes here and there, I think that they're definitely going to be continuing moving up. And this will be a nice test for them this week. To kind of continue on that upward trend. Now, we've got Dallas Renegades, number 4. And this is a team that's kind of another team that's kind of moved up in the rankings for me. And having Landry Jones back makes a big difference. Now, he was really rusty the first half, but the second half he looked good. They've got that running game clicking, and man, you're 1 yard away from having our first 100-yard rusher. I think they've kind of figured out how to do the things with Artis Payne, and this offense is opened up to where you could see literally over 500 yards this week of offense from them. I really do think that they could come out slinging it, and you could see Landry Jones with like 3 touchdowns, and Cameron Artis-Payne with another couple touchdowns, maybe even a receiving touchdown. See that ridiculous tight end, Parham or whatever it is, a 6'8" monster grabbing the ball there at tight end / wide receiver, and they just have tons of weapons. There, which I really like there. St. Louis at number 3. St. Louis is again, I talked about it earlier. They're a fun team, and Jordan Ta'amau, he's one of those guys to where when people just talk about the XFL and they talk about PJ Walker and they talk about Cardell Jones, I can tell that they haven't watched any football, because if you take those 2 picks away, Jordan Ta'amau has looked fantastic. And really, even with those 2 picks, you can really easily explain them away, that they were circumstances that happened that weren't all completely under his control. And, maybe he got a little careless on the second one because he probably shouldn't have thrown it up, even though he thought he had a free play when he didn't, because the refs missed a call. And I'll give it up. The refs did miss a call on that one. But yeah, I think Ta'amau is a great quarterback. I think that the BattleHawks have a good defense. And the other thing is, and here's where the caution for me comes, is how their running game is going to be. Jones has kind of been their guy. And Ford has kind of been kind of the other guy, which is kind of surprising because neither one of those guys were meant to be the starter. But both of those guys, Jones has especially been running hard. However, they had trouble running the ball when he got hurt last week. And so to see if he's going to be able to really come in and play, and Ford is also another guy that was hurt, to see if those guys can come in and really play. Because Kristen Michael hasn't really been fit, it hasn't really lived up to the hype, but Jones has. So if these guys are healthy and that running game gets going, it's going to look pretty good for them. But if they can't really get that running game going, I'm a little hesitant with them. That running game really kind of sets everything in motion. Even though Tamau does a great job throwing the ball, that getting that running game going for them is huge. And so if they don't have that, it's going to be tough. But I've got them at my number 3 spot. They're looking really good. I really like the way that they played last week. And a couple things here and there, they win that game. Number 2, Houston Roughnecks. They look fantastic. PJ Walker is a stud. He's got studs to throw to. The running game, they're starting to maybe figure some things out there a little bit. Williams looking a little bit better, in that. They got Butler going and kind of doing some stuff there. It'll be interesting to see, what they do this week going up against that Vipers defense. Their defense is stout, man. It was crazy. They're getting pressure on the quarterback with rushing 4 guys, and they were in Tamau's face all last week. And that's just a testament to Tamau, how well he played. But these guys are going to get some sacks this week. They're going to run roughshod on this Vipers team, especially if they got Cornelius in at quarterback. It'll be a long day for him. Defense looks good. It's solid. You got PJ Walker, and he has just weapons. Now, if they miss Phillips is a ball-hawking guy that PJ Walker really likes, and for good reason. Coates has kind of had some issue. If Phillips can't play, Coates needs to step up this week. But I've got Houston as my number 2 team. They're looking good, looking solid. And my number 1 team, obviously, like everybody else, is the DC Defenders. They're clicking on all cylinders. I really like what they're doing. I'd like to see a little bit more out of the running game. I was more impressed this week by Pumphrey. Presley's still running solid. I really like the way that Presley runs. He runs hard, runs and gets every little bit that he can. Pumphrey ran a lot better this week. Cardale Jones looks good. He's managing the ball well. I mean, he's literally what the NFL wants in a quarterback. But he's doing everything that he needs to do. They're winning, and they're also winning on defense. They're really making other teams' offense really, they're wreaking havoc in the backfield, causing them to, throw interceptions. And, all facets of the game, even special teams, they're really stepping up and really playing decent. Pep Hamilton has really put together a really neat and fun squad to watch with this. And because they're the best overall team, that's why I have them ahead of the Houston Roughnecks, because I think that they've got the whole package. Whereas there's just a few spots on the Houston Roughnecks that I'm, kind of leery. Not really leery about, but I just have more questions than I do the DC Defenders. So, yeah, guys, to recap real quick, number 8, Tampa Bay, number 7, LA, number 6, New York, number 5, the Dragons, Seattle Dragons, number 4, the Dallas Renegades, number 3, the St. Louis BattleHawks, and number 2, the Houston Roughnecks. And then to finish everything out, the number 1, DC Defenders. So, yeah, that's my power rankings for this week. The question is, what do you think? What are your power rankings for this week? I'd love to hear it down in the comment section. Leave me a comment and let me know what you got going on. All right, guys. Well, I know that you're busy. I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.